We are on part 2 of the Excel Module 1. If you're following along in the digital text, it's on page 9, and we have already entered in the row titles, and so we're going to start at the bottom of page 9 where it says entering numbers. So in Excel, you can enter a number into a cell to represent an amount or a value. And the number can contain only the following characters: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, plus sign, minus sign, parentheses, comma, forward slash, period, dollar sign, percentage sign, a capital E, and a lowercase e. If a cell entry contains any other keyboard character, including spaces, then Excel interprets the entry as text and treats it accordingly instead of as numbers. So the use of special characters is explained as we go along. And now turn to page 10. We're going to enter numbers. The personal budget worksheet numbers used in this table are, they represent the yearly income and expense amounts. So I'm going to start in cell B4 and type in $1,417.12, and it looks like that amount is the same wage amount for all of the months of the year. So I am going to grab that little handle and pull that over until I get to December and drop that, and it just copied all of that for us. And so the next thing for dividends, the person that made out this personal budget worksheet gets dividends twice a year, in January and in July. So for January, we're going to put in $4,029.71. And for July, we are going to type in $4,029.71. In February, she received 0, and so we're going to type a 0 in cell C5, and then put your mouse over top of the bottom right corner of the cell rectangle and pull that over so that it copies, and now you have all zeros. We also need to do that. I'm just going to slide my screen over so I can see. In cell I5 for the month of August, this person does not have any dividend income, and that is true for the rest of the months: September, October, November, December. So I'm just going to slide that over and release, and it's going to copy that amount for me. Now we need to type in the expenses. So for rent, it looks like, if you're on page 10 looking at table 1-1, the rent amount is steady. It's a fixed expense of $410 every single month. It doesn't change. So let's just type in 410 and drag that over all the way to December. And then for food, that's a variable amount because some months you may spend more money on food than other months. But for our budgeting purposes, we're just going to say that every single month we spend $280, and just slide that over and stop at December and drop your mouse or unclick your mouse. Now tuition is an amount that is variable, and it does change. So it looks like in December this person made $1,500 or paid $1,500 for their tuition for college. And I'm going to use the tab key on my keyboard to advance over to cell C11, and I'm going to type a 0. I'm going to tab again for March, 0, and tab again and type 0 for April, and then tab over. In May, they paid $300 for tuition, So maybe possibly they're signed up for a summer class, just one. Um, so they pay that amount in May, and then they probably take the class in June and July, but they don't have to spend that money in June and July. So let's tab over and put a 0 for June and 0 for July. And then in August, the amount of tuition is $1,500. And it looks like that the rest of these are 0. So we can just either, you can type in the 0 here and pull that over, or just tab over and go 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, let's go back. What is next? Books. Okay, so the books for college are only purchased when you're taking the class, and you usually pay those up front. So for books in January, we are budgeting $500, and then in February, March, April, 0. In May, the book, we're going to budget about $100 for that class. And let's tab over. For June, it's $0. July, $0. And in August, going back to school in the fall, full time, so it's $500. And then 0 September, 0 October, 0 November, 0 December. And scroll back over. The next one is entertainment. And some months you do more entertainment than other months. Maybe some months you just don't have time. You've got way too many activities happening. You've got to study for bazillion tests, and you're just too busy to get out, or maybe it's just too cold to get out, even to go skiing or whatever. So we're just going to go ahead and give this person a $100 budget every single month for entertainment. To make it easy on us, we're just going to pull that over and copy that. Car payment should be the same amount every month, and it looks like in table 1-1 on page 10 that it is $215.47. So let's pull that over as well. Then their gas price, again, your gas price is going to vary every month, especially if you drive on your vacation in the summertime. You're going to spend probably double what you budgeted for that month. But then again, in the wintertime, you're not going to be out and about as much. So maybe, you budgeted $100 for gas, um, but maybe you only spend $50 of that for a couple of months. And so that just gives you a broad amount to go with. Miscellaneous, again, let's do $100. Just those expenses that you just really can't pinpoint, or maybe there's just a bunch of different things like shampoo, and you may buy your shampoo once a month or maybe every 3 months, but it still costs the same. So if you spend $4 on a bottle of shampoo, then you don't want to list that in your expenses. And we'll just lump all those types of things into miscellaneous. Okay, I'm going to go up and save this so I don't lose any of the information that I put in. Okay, for those of you following along in the textbook, we are now on page 12, and what we are going to do now is we are going to calculate a sum using a function. In our worksheet, we have put a row title as the total. And so if we wanted to, we could just say 1,417 and 12 cents plus $4,029.71 equals, and we could probably do that in our head. We'd say 2 plus 1 is 3, 1 plus 7 is 8, bring down the decimal, 9 plus 7 is 16, carry the 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 2 is 4, and 4 plus 0 is 4, and 1 plus 4 is 5. So we could do that in our head, or even just use a calculator. However, when you have vast amounts of data here, let's say hundreds of rows of data, it's a little difficult to do that in your head, and trying to add all of those different numbers up on a calculator would take a very long time, and you'd probably lose your place, and you'd probably be worried if, if you missed a number or if it was accurate. Um, you'd probably want to count it at least twice. If it didn't match, you'd want to count it a third time, and that's just so time consuming. So Excel has a feature where you can actually ask it to just add it for you, sum up the information for you. So you should be clicked on cell B6, and we are going to click that sum button. So if you're on the Home tab, go all the way over to the editing group, and there is a button that has this E looking symbol, and it actually is a Greek letter that stands for sigma, and it also means in math to sum the amount. So let's click that, and when you do, notice that Excel puts in cell B6 equals capital SUM parenthesis B4 colon B5 close parenthesis. And so what that's saying is, and you can even see the line, the blue line that goes around cell B4 and B5, and it's saying, do you want me to add what is in B4 to what is in B5? And we are going to say yes, yes, that's what we want. So we can hit enter on our keyboard, and you can see that it added it for us, $5,446.83, which is what we came up with when we did that in our head. So something else that's really awesome about, well, let's just go ahead and do the total down here as well. So scroll down just a bit if you need to. And now we're in cell B17, and we want Excel to add up all of our expenses, our money going out of our pockets to other people. Anyway, so we want them to add that up. So let's click on B17 and then click the sum button just one time. And now, instead of hitting enter on your keyboard, keep your mouse on the auto sum button and click it again, because what it's telling us is I'm going to add up everything from B9 all the way to B16. And it has this blue line around the section that it's going to add up. And that's what we want. So let's just click that again if you haven't already. And I'm just going to assume it's correct because it usually is. And it's, $3,205.47. That seems plausible. So we're going to go with that. It's right. Trust me. Okay. So now we're going to use this fill handle. You know how we've clicked on the month of January and then we pull that handle over and we fill in the rest of the titles with the months, or if you type in the number 0 and you copy that over. Well, we can also copy the formula that is in cell B6 and cell B17. So go ahead and click on cell B6 and put your mouse cursor in the bottom right corner and click on that little green square after your mouse turns into a black crosshair, and then drag that over to cell B or C6, D6, E6, all the way over to cell M6. And when you release, what's going to happen is Excel says, oh, this person wants me to add all of what's in 4 above and 5 above into what the area is for 6, even though um, the letters or the columns have changed. It will still do that. And so let's do that again for cell B17, because we want Excel to add up February expenses for us and put that total here. We want Excel to add up all of March's expenses and put the total here. So let's copy that formula, and the formula is here on the formula bar at the top, and let's go ahead and grab that and pull that over. So here's what's going to happen. When I check your paper, if I click on cell L17 and you have the amount of $1,205.47 there, what I'm going to do is to make sure that you have the formula in there and didn't just type 1205.47 is I'm going to look at your formula bar, and it's going to tell me that you used the formula and that it's the equal sum, open parenthesis, L9 to L16. So that would be L9 here to L16. Now notice there is no formula in cell J9. It's just the total amount because we did just put that in. But if you go down to J17, you notice that there is a formula, and that is very, very important. So many times I have students that just look at the book and they type the numbers in as they are in the book. But that's missing the whole entire point of this lesson. And that is, why do all that work when you can just click that button at the top, have Excel do the work for you, and then copy the work that Excel did into all of these other columns as well. So the computer, if you know how to use it right, it will be your friend. Also too, these formulas will be used in math classes when you become a sophomore, junior, senior, especially if you take Mr. Bradford's classes, because he uses the spreadsheet software very often. Okay, so make sure that you are using the appropriate formulas, because if, like again, like I just said, I'm going to say it again, if I click here where there's supposed to be a formula in cell B6 and I look at the formula bar and there's no formula, then that is counted wrong. And I'm going to make you do it over until you do learn how to do it and not just type in the numbers, because right now it would be simple enough just to type the numbers in, and I'm starting to ramble, so I'm going to just go ahead and move on. Okay, now we're on page 16. On page 16, it shows us how Excel can simplify our life by calculating multiple totals at the same time. So let's go over and click on cell N4. If you have to scroll over, do that. N4. So right above it in cell N3 is total, and so we're going to click right below that for N4, and we made that the active cell. The pointer is block plus sign inside of it. Now with your pointer in cell N4, that is a big white block plus sign, click on that and hold your mouse down, and then drag your pointer down to cell N5 and cell N6. Now release your mouse, and you have this selected now. Now take your pointer, and we're on page 17. Click the sum button. Hold on. Sum. Okay. Well, it just automatically did it for me. It showed me what the formula was in there, then it automatically just changed. And I swear I only pushed auto sum one time. But if you looked really quick, I'll undo it. But if you look real quick, you can see when I click sum button one time, it gives you the formulas and then automatically changes it over to the totals. And so if you just click on one of these cells, you'll see the formula here, and it's saying sum B5 to M5. So it took all of the information for the dividends and added it up. So for the year, this person received $8,059.42. And there's that. And then it has the grand total of how much you made. So this number is 17,000, etc., plus 8,000, etc., which gives you 25,000. But that's also the same number as if you added up all these totals. Let's click Save. And you can click Save even when I don't tell you to click Save. It's just a really good habit to get into. Now this video has lasted about 20 minutes, so I think this would be a really good place to pause before we go on to the next video. So I'm going to stop here and I'll see you back at part 3.